I want to start today with a little visualization exercise. If you can, picture the coat of arms of South Africa. It's this really stunning piece of art. You've got the secretary bird, the rising sun, elephant tusks.
Yeah.
It's really majestic. But I want you to look right at the bottom. There's this green ribbon with a motto on it.
Toteki.
Exactly. And when you look at that, your first instinct is probably to try and place it. Is it Zulu? Is it Xhosa? Maybe Afrikanans. But
Yeah.
it doesn't look like any of them. It's a phrase, and it translates to something like diverse people unite, a really beautiful idea for a country. But the language it's written in, that's where you find the ghost in the machine.
It really is. That language is Zam.
Yeah.
And the tragedy of it, or maybe the irony, I'm sure which, is that Zam is extinct. There are no living native speakers.
Yeah.
No life.
So the national motto of this vibrant, modern country is written in a language that's fallen completely silent.
Yeah, that fact just completely floored me when I was digging into the sources. It feels like a secret just hiding in plain sight. But here's the thing, Zam wasn't some, isolated oddity. It belonged to a whole language family that is, well, it's arguably one of the most complex and tragic on Earth.
Ooh, without a doubt, it's a family that just challenges everything we think we know about what the human voice can even do.
So today we're doing a deep dive into the Tuu languages. And I have to say, going through the research for this, my thinking went from, okay, another language family to, wait a minute, these might be the most complex sounds humans have ever made. We're talking about world record holders for phonetic complexity that are just hanging on by the thinnest possible thread.
It's a study in extremes, really. On one side, you have this maximum possible complexity, just an explosion of sound. And on the other, you have extreme demographic fragility. It's like finding a supercomputer inside an ancient ruin that's about to crumble.
Right. So our mission today is to try and unpack that. We're going to look at the unique superpowers of the Tuu family, the detective work connecting them to the ancient Kalahari, and yeah, we have to face the hard reality of where they stand today.
And to do that right, we first have to clear the deck a little. We have to unlearn something that, most of us probably saw in old encyclopedias. We need to talk about the K word of African linguistics.
You're talking about Khoisan.
I am.
Yeah.
For a very long time, you'd open a textbook and see all these click languages from southern Africa just lumped together under this one big umbrella. Khoisan.
It's the standard label, I think. Most people probably assume it's a real family, like saying Romance languages or Indo-European.
Right, but that's the trap. Linguists today see Khoisan as, well, it's pretty much obsolete as a scientific term. It's a term of convenience, not a genetic reality. It's a bit like looking at Europe and saying, well, Basque and Hungarian and English must all be related because they're neighbors.
Which we know isn't true at all. They might borrow words, sure, but they have completely different family trees.
Exactly. So the Tuu languages, which is our focus, they
Yeah.
are a primary family. They stand on their own. They're not some sub-branch of a big Khoisan tree. They're their own distinct lineage, spoken historically in Botswana, Namibia, and South Africa.
So if Khoisan is out, let's get the name right. Tuu, T-U-U. Where does that come from?
It's actually a wonderful example of linguistics finally getting it right. The name Tuu is from a word that shows up in both main branches of the family. It just means person.
Oh, I really like that. It grounds the whole discussion. Instead of some, colonial label or a complicated geographical name, we're just using the word they use for themselves. We are people.
Precisely. Now, to kind of visualize this, think about the arid parts of southern Africa, the Kalahari Basin. This family is split into two main branches. First, you have the Taa branch. This is mostly in Botswana. It's the more robust branch, relatively speaking. And we'll get to what robust actually means in a bit.
Okay. And the second branch.
The second is the Ǩwi branch. Sometimes you'll see it written as Joui. This was the branch found all across South Africa. And this is the one that includes Zam from the motto. And this branch is, well, linguists describe it as moribund.
Moribund. That's a very polite academic way of saying dying.
It is.
Yeah.
And the relationship between Taa and Ǩwi, it's distant. They are related, but it's not like looking at Spanish and Portuguese. It's a much, much deeper separation. They've been apart for a very long time.
Okay, so we've got the geography, the Kalahari, we've got the family tree, Taa and Ǩwi. But the thing that really stopped me in my tracks was the sound. We all hear about clicks, maybe we've seen them in movies, but the Tuu languages take this to a level that it's frankly hard for an English speaker to even imagine.
It really is. We need to talk about their specific superpower. Because two languages, along with just one neighboring language called Amko, are the only languages in the world to use bilabial clicks as speech sounds.
Bilabial. Let's just unpack that. That just means two lips, right?
Correct. Bilabial, yes.
So most clicks we might try to imitate are made with the tongue against the teeth or the roof of the mouth, like that stick sound.
Exactly. Those are tongue-based. But a bilabial click is made just with the lips. It sounds almost like a stiff kiss, a pop.
A kiss sound, but used as a consonant. So you're not just being affectionate, you're using it in a word to mean, I don't know, dog or run.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Now, I should add a tiny asterisk here just for the linguists listening. There was a ritual language in Australia, Damon, that also used them. But Damon was an invented ceremonial language, not a mother tongue. In terms of natural spoken languages, Tuu stands completely alone.
That is just wild. Out of 7,000 languages, only this group in the Kalahari figured, hey, let's use a kiss sound to build words. But it's not just that one sound, is it? It's the sheer number of sounds.
It's staggering. Let's take the Taa language, also known as Okekso. It's part of what we call a linguistic area, Spraakbund, that has the most complex inventory of consonants in the world.
When you say inventory, give us a comparison. How many are we talking about here?
Well, English has about 24 consonant sounds, give or take. Us one somewhere between 80 and, well, some analyses push it to 160.
Wait, 160? How is that even possible? I feel like I'd run out of parts of my mouth.
It's all about the combinations. You have your basic consonants, then you have clicks, but then you have clicks that are voiced, clicks that are nasal, clicks that are aspirated, clicks followed by a glottal stop.
And from what I read, they're also combining different air streams.
Right, that's the key. Most of our sounds are aggressive. We push air out. Clicks are aggressive. We suck air in. Two languages will do both, sometimes at the same time. And then on top of all that, they have these incredibly complex vowel systems and tone.
And tone, right.
Just like Mandarin, the pitch changes the meaning of the word. So you have the world's widest variety of clicks, a massive list of consonants, complex vowels, and tonal changes all happening at once.
It's like a symphony. I mean, compared to that, we're basically playing chopsticks on a toy piano, and they're playing Rachmaninoff on a concert grand.
That's a great way to put it. It really represents the full potential of what the human vocal tract can do. It's a library of sounds that exists nowhere else on Earth.
That brings us to the who. Who are the people who developed this? I mean, we don't have written records from 5,000 years ago in the Kalahari.
No, we don't. But we have something almost as good. We have linguistic paleontology.
I love that term. It's like digging for history inside the words themselves.
Exactly. By comparing the modern languages, we can reconstruct words from Proto-Tuu, the ancestor language. And there's one specific word that acts like a GPS coordinate for their history. It's the word for the gemsbok.
The antelope with the long, straight horns, a very specific animal.
A very specific animal. The reconstructed word is something like dock high. Now, why is that so important? Because to have a single common root word for the gemsbok, the people who spoke that proto-language must have lived where gemsbok lived.
Which is the desert, the arid scrubland, the Kalahari.
Precisely. It anchors them to that environment. It's proof they didn't migrate there recently. They've been desert dwellers for thousands and thousands of years.
But the sources also mentioned they weren't alone out there. They were interacting with their neighbors.
Yes, specifically the Ko-speaking peoples. And this is where that Khoisan confusion comes up again. Tuu and Ko are distinct groups, but they've lived side by side for millennia. And they started to, well, swap things.
Like borrowing a cup of sugar, but for vocabulary.
And body parts, apparently.
Yeah.
The research notes some really specific borrowings. For example, the word for chest. In Nakso, it's gu, which is borrowed from the Ko word gu.
And chin. The language N has G-A-N, which is from Ko and N.
But here's my favorite little mystery from the reading. It's the word for louse.
Head lice.
Yep. The root word, something like Sony, shows up in both Tuu and Ko families, but some linguists think it doesn't actually belong to either of them.
So where did it come from?
The theory is that it might come from an even older pre-Tuu or pre-Ko substrate, a ghost language, spoken by a group who was there even before them.
Wow, a ghost substrate. So we have a word for a parasite that actually outlived the entire language of the people who first named it.
It suggests these deep, deep layers of human history in the Kalahari that we're just now beginning to understand.
This complexity, the borrowing, and the shared sounds, it must make classification a nightmare. You mentioned Tuu isn't related to the Keksa family, which includes the famous Juhoan language.
Right. It's the difference between being related by blood and, say, related by marriage. Tuu and Tex are not genetic cousins, but they form a Spraakbund, a linguistic area. They share clicks and tone because they've been rubbing off on each other for so long.
It must be so hard for researchers, though. I was looking at the list of names in the documents. Val Orange, Kakia, Satya, Valpens. It's just a jumble.
It is a jumble. And that's partly because we just got there too late. A lot of these names are for varieties that went extinct before anyone could properly document them. A researcher named Westphal studied a variety called Namani. It's gone. Dorothy Obliques recorded another one she just called S5. Gone.
It's like trying to map a forest after a fire has already burned through half of it. You're just counting the stumps and trying to guess what the trees looked like.
That's a painful but very accurate metaphor. And that brings us to the hardest part of this. We need to talk about the current status of the Ǩwi branch.
The South African branch, the one the motto comes from.
Yes. The Ǩwi languages were once spoken all across South Africa. Today, that entire branch is represented by essentially one surviving language, Nng.
And when we say surviving, we need to be very clear about what that actually means. We're not talking about a thriving village of speakers.
No, the source material is stark. It notes that Nng has only one elderly speaker left.
One. Just one person, holding an entire branch of a language family in her mind.
Effectively, yes. I mean, there are community efforts, there are heritage learners, but in terms of fluent mother tongue competence, it's down to one. When she passes, the language moves from living to archival.
That's just devastating. And it's not just Enching. The list of the lost is so long. Zam is gone. Zegwi is gone. Saroa.Nku.
And those aren't just names on a list. Each one was a unique way of seeing the world, a unique sense of humor, a unique way of classifying plants. All of it just erased.
It brings us right back to that motto, Ke diverse people unite. It almost feels less like a slogan now and more like a memorial.
It serves as a permanent reminder of what was lost. The Vol Orange group, the Danster.ui, these are just file folders filled with ghosts now.
So is the news any better for the other branch, the Taa branch in Botswana? You called it robust at the beginning.
Well, better is a very relative term here. The Taa branch is the survivor. But the primary language in that branch is .xo.
And what are the numbers on that?
About 2,500 speakers.
Okay. 2,500. I mean, globally speaking, that's a tiny village. That's the population of a single large high school. And that's the strongest language in the entire family.
That is the titan of the Tuu family, yes. And even within Taa, diversity is collapsing. The lower Nasab dialects, Ani and Hasi, they're already extinct. So Kai is holding the line pretty much by itself.
That really puts the word robust into perspective. It's robust, like a candle in a windstorm is robust compared to a single mat.
Exactly. And this is why linguists are so obsessive about documenting it. Because Masomi is the language that contains that phonetic inventory we talked about, the 100+ consonants, the bilabial clicks.
So if not so goes, the bilabial click as a living human sound, it essentially disappears from the planet.
It does. It becomes a recording, a digital artifact, not a living, breathing mode of communication. It would be like losing the color blue from our visual spectrum.
So let's try to synthesize this. We have the Tuu family. It's completely distinct. It has this deep, deep history in the Kalahari, proven by the word for Gemsbach. And it has by far the most complex sound system humans have ever produced.
But demographically, it is on the absolute brink. One branch is down to a single person, the other is down to a few thousand.
It makes you think about what we value as advanced. You know, we think of global languages like English as being advanced because they have words for internet or microchip.
Yeah.
But structurally...
Structurally, English is quite simple. Phonetically, we're lazy.
We're lazy.
We are. We use a tiny fraction of what our mouths and our lungs can actually do. We settled for the easy sounds. The speakers of two languages didn't settle. They used the full instrument. They built a cathedral of sound while most of us are building sheds.
And that's the thought I want to leave everyone with. We often see history as this march of progress where the better or more complex things win out. But in this case, we have the Olympic athletes of articulation, the most sophisticated sound systems ever devised, being silenced by languages that are, frankly, phonetic couch potatoes.
It's a sobering thought. When a language like N goes silent, it's not like losing a book, it's like burning down a library. But a library of sounds.
And you can't rebuild that library. You can't just reinvent a bilabial click and all the grammar that has to go with it.
No. Once it's gone for good.
On that note, thank you for guiding us through this. It's a heavy topic, but a really important one.
My pleasure.
And to all of you listening, next time you see that South African coat of arms, take a closer look at the motto. Remember the people, the two who gave us those words. We'll see you on the next deep dive.